Hi everybody. I am looking this week at a third in this triptych of lovely pictures. I'm going to make a third one that will be in the same colour range, paper and stitch. And I'm starting off as this focal element, this wonderful kind of canvas that I have. I look at it and I see the holes in it and I think, wow, that'd be great to thread something through. So start looking at things a little differently, like this paper or mesh. I just saw these lines with holes and I thought, I wonder what it looks like if we stitch something through. And I'm liking it. That already gives me ideas. I mean, there's loads of things like this. There's Hessian, there's that cinema. They use that for hat making and things. You know, but doesn't that look great? I mean, you have to imagine then that you could have it over something as an overlay, and you'd have different things underneath, maybe, I don't know, something like that, whatever. See, so I think that could really work. Well, that's just a thread that it was meant to be a woven thread, and I just unraveled it, pulled it, and it did that. So that's what I mean about looking at what you've already got that might be something different for you, that you can use in a different way than what it's expected. And see where your imagination can take you. So I might try a few other threads there, because I'm thinking that looks quite good. I haven't figured out what's in the background yet. But you know, if you're at the charity shops, you'll find things. And that's great. I could put something behind it and stitch through. So many ideas are coming from just that one little piece. So I'm going to find some more threads and do a bit more. So just in the first look, I found that scrap. We used a bit of that in the first picture. That could easily be going through. Be interesting to see what it does. And I saw this bit of wool. It's a nice variegated. I thought it could bring in a few colours. So I could do both, or you can always do this, make your own yarn by blending two together. You see? So, ideas. I wonder if you had paper under a section of it. That could work, couldn't it? Because when I look back and I look at this one, I think, I was trying too many things. It's a bit busy, but it looks good. This one had far less components, but looks very eye-catching. I like that one. So, imagine if we had the three and made this one another more simple one. I think that's the go. I'm just holding some of those ends underneath with this one, and I thought if I stitch through it, it's going to hold it. I'm trapping it, you see. There. Oh, that really helped. That'll do me. If I found it's bunching up too much and not sitting flatly, I can just get rid of some of these extra bits here. Right, we'll come back to that. That's going to be a bit that we attach later. so we might add more. I'm just sticking with the orangey, goldy, copper, black, white, neutral. If you go neutral colours, concentrate on, you know, a colour, or neutral and metallic, and we've all gone orangey yellow. See, that's black, black and white, orangey yellow, similar colouring but completely different. So, and this is all we've got so far, but I'll make sure I pop some black in there. I rip that edge and see what it looks like. Ooh. See, it's got fibres in it, and when you do that, the fibres stay. I can use that. You see in the last one how I had the black down the bottom? So I'm thinking if I did something like that, I could have it at the top this time. That's a change. Or off to the side. I love that bit of black showing. So these are all wonderful choices. Now where's all the other scraps that we had left over? Here's another thing that would be really nice. Another thing I found whilst I was just diving for that card was gold tissue paper. Really, the cheapest of things. I use it for gift wrapping in very cheap shops. You can buy it, but it does not look great. I imagine that could really make things nice. So, right, we've got to make a decision and go for it. I don't know if I can use this leaf. I do like to use a natural element. That's quite nice. See the fibres in that paper? Just to start looking for really interesting things like that. Bit of gold. And this is another way that you can join things onto the backing paper. Hold it down flat. Let's say you were having problems. The last two I used wood glue, then I used the Mod Podge. I'm going to try this double-sided tape. So you stick it on, and then you peel that top layer off. It's just paper. And that leaves you with a gluey strip. There, can you see? Right. Well, I think we've had some good ideas. I've put this little bit of map in. I've used the tape to show you how you can tape it down if you want. I'm wanting to use a bit of glue though, so alright, so there were two things I wanted to do. One was to have a little bit of water in here. Can you see how I've only got it in places? So that if I wanted it thick, I can get it from there, or thin from here. I might just colour that first. To add a bit of colour and make that map more of a focal point as well, I add in some watercolour orange. And can you see that the ripped edges take on more paint than the non-ripped areas? Now I'm going to add some of this beautiful black handmade paper, Kozo paper, that I had ripped some edges of. And it's got those lovely tattered lines. So see how I've split it in half, and I'm just adding it to my background and thinking about where I want to place it, adding some glue and getting it down there. So now I'm finding some more of this lovely white and grey colours of, that one was a mango leaf. They use mango leaves cut up and into this handmade paper, this Kozo paper. And I have it in the others, and I thought, yes, it would look good here. So I'll pop some of that down as well. Some more white glue, touch of water, and down. Now I've decided I don't have quite enough here, so I'm just ripping some little bits of that gold, that tissue paper, and popping it down, both sides. That's taken it out to the edge that will be covered by the mat board frame. But it's looking quite good so far. I can see it has potential. Here comes the leaf. You know, collect dried leaves and things like that. They're interesting. So we've pieced together a kind of a start, a background. Let's start some stitching to pop it in place. Okay, see how I've done a knot up here? That's going to be out of the picture. Now what I am wanting to do is to get this attached down. I've decided to put my leaf under, because I like to add a natural element when I can. And I'm going to sew down. And I'm not going to try and be straight, because I'm not very straight. I like curves anyway, so may as well just go for it. And that way, if it's not perfectly straight, no one will care. It'll look like part of the design. So it's a simple running stitch that we'll take down there, and we're going to be pretty happy with that, I think. Can't really do that with paper. See what I just did then? That's how I would normally stitch. Probably better to just do it one at a time. And if you're unsure where to stitch from when you're bringing it up from behind, you can just mark it with your needle like that. Puncture through, so that when you, we'll go to the next one, there. When you go through to the back then, find the hole, back up through there, and what we're doing is we're making sure all of those things are attached so they're going to stay. And I could have glued the leaf if I wanted. I may still do things in the background. I don't know. It's never finished until you are completely happy, and that's something that you work out as you go. So I've started to stitch down that leaf, taking it off right to the end there. I'm just putting this on to have a look how I like it. Well, the orange is needs something running through that, I think. So I thought, well, I could stitch through it, I could add something to it. I'm looking at the gold here and how that's quite a straight line, and thinking maybe some little torn bits of gold would help blend that in a bit more. Don't know yet. There's so many things you can try. So I will have a go. I decided I want something here, so I've glued these bits of gold tissue just to break it up. and I've got some gold metallic thread, and I'm just going to do some random little tiny stitches. These are called seed stitch because it's not a running stitch, we're not doing a full line of them, we're just doing these interesting little marks to just sort of break this up a wee bit. I think it'd be good, it'll catch the light. This is the back. Just wanted to show you that when I'm finished, I like to just thread the needle through under a few stitches, like that. And then I can cut it, and I'll just put some tape over that to make sure it stays. And you see here how we've taken that up and over some of those different layers. And it's really going to show up well under some different light, see? Beautiful. I still would like something else there. I think I might use a thicker thread, but before I do that, I'm just going to have a go at, I don't know, just see if I can use my watercolors here and make it a little bit darker in places. I'm going to mix some of this lovely rusty colour with some water. And then I thought I would use a thicker thread. That might add a little bit of something. Might just try a little bit of that. And now I don't want to put too many holes in it because it, you know, might muck around with the integrity of it. But I'll try a little bit and just see. Let's have a little closer look if we can. And you can see these seed stitches, like a scattering of seeds, just little stitches. I think that really helps. So here's our picture I'm playing with, and I've threaded through these. These are flowers from a palm frond, but they look really sculptural. I was hoping to have some of them poke up over the edge, and we'll try that, but I thought it needed another element. I grabbed I wanted to put a moon in here underneath, but it wasn't quite shiny enough, so I added some pearlescent white metallic paint, and see how it picks up the light now like a real moon. So I'm just going to pop it underneath there and have these maybe go over the top, and I think I can do something like that, maybe stitch around it in some white or something, and that will help me, I think. I'm just going to push that right up like that. That goes up there. You know, we're getting there, I think. I think it's looking pretty good. I'm just going to use up some of this glue here on the back and pop it where I want, and I'm wanting it about there, I think. And that's just me. You'll have ideas about, you know, having a look at it and thinking, need something there, I don't like that, or I wish I had something, you know, and you'll figure it out. You know, we could go right over here and have it off center. We could go right over here. There's still a lot of choices here. More at the bottom, more at the top. Plenty of opportunity to play. Now I just want to explain, when you do something that's a little bit 3D, you've got that third dimension, and then you've got a frame, but it's not one that allows you to, oops, have that bulky third dimension. Imagine you've got your glass in here. These would be pressed up against it, and you know, which is okay, but you probably need a spacer. Now if you want a cheap way to do that, really, you could get some of that tape, you know, like this, but maybe it's got foam on it, and you could just run it on the inside there. And that allows you to have a deeper area before the glass. And so therefore you could have three-dimensional things. You can add something to it. You're in fact making your own like box frame. So once again, I've just grabbed three strands of stranded cotton, ordinary. I'm going to put the knot over here where I'm not going to see it. It's going to be under the frame. Later on I can tape it to make sure that it stays underneath there. Anyway, I'm going to go over here. Well, I think what I'll do first is mark it underneath, looking at where that hole was. Around that circle, and then maybe a few lines outside of it as well, just in a plain old running stitch around. So I like that. I think that really sets it off, that little bit of white. My last element now is to just grab some thicker black thread, and I'm just going to do these little tiny stitches up one side and down the other to tack the stems, the thicker parts of this, these lovely fronds, into place. Now let's just have a last look. See how that we've got those fronds that are going out and over the edge, and our piece looks really good up against the other two that we've already made. We've got ourselves a set of three here that, you know, work perfectly together, I think. So that's it, the end of our little series here of making, you know, these matching pictures that you can easily do for yourself. And I would love to see more people making art. It really is a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to press like. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time with something else we can play with, because we're all artists. Thanks again.